Hit after hit, we going in it. Call me LeBron cause the king is just in it. Step through this game, the youngest apprentice. Ja ain't my name.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Showtime Snatch, and today we have a special episode for you guys. Starting off with the R6 map tier list. Now, we're only going to be going over the maps that are currently in the ranked pool. So for my favela lovers out there in my house, those are not going to be ranked in this video. It doesn't really fit the vibe. We're trying to rank, how good these maps are. Not just how fun they are. That's very important. But how, competitively viable are they? Are we, running into different issues that could cause a map to be, better or worse. So without further ado, man, we're going to go ahead and get right into this video. And when you don't know where to start, you start off alphabetically. That's what the great Dr. House once said. So first alphabetically is Bank, and this one's going to get A tier. I think Bank is, an underrated map. I see this get banned in ranked play sometimes. I just shake my head. There's a lot of different setups and pushes you can do. You don't have to be one-dimensional. For most of the objectives, second floor, obviously you got the windows, you got all the skylights available. You can push through downstairs. You can make your push to the little balcony. Tons of options there. That extends to basement. Basement, I mean, there's about 4 or 5 different ways you can push that. So keeps the defenders on their toes and, keeps your mind creative. I think a lot of this game, a lot of people just get stuck doing the same thing over and over again, but it really gets fun when you start, reinventing the wheel. So on top of that, it's a great map for roaming. It's very big, so you can kind of get around your opponents easy. You're not just stuck in one-on-one gunfights. You can reroute, take a smarter position. And the only issue I have with this is that there's not a great third site. When you look at open area, which is very often played because I forget what the other one's called, but it's behind the towers. That one's almost unplayable. Open area also is not very good, very difficult to defend. So very hard to win 3 defensive rounds, but it can be done. And then, basement itself is very vertical based. So I don't love verticality. So I kind of put that as a con, but that's very niche, that's fine. So yeah, I think Bank, great map. We put it in A tier. Coming on next on the list is Border, and Border gets B tier. I actually really like Border. Personally, it could be A tier, but I'm looking at it, not mathematically, but with a microscope here, we put it in B tier. Now, one good thing about Border is that all 4 sites are viable to play. Customs inspection, warehouse, you got bathrooms, and you got second floor. All 4 of those objectives are very, at least second floor, obviously the first pick, but the second pick, you go to either of those. Those are all very solid options, and probably the only one that I say I actually see all 4 sites get played with some type of frequency. And now, the reason I love Border is that second floor. I think it's very, it's very back and forth. People like to say it's a attacker-sided map, but, I think it can go both ways on that second floor. You can have a map where you get 3 straight attack wins, or you can win that defense in the first try. So, I think it's very interesting. I love a good smoke plant. If you guys watch my videos, I smoke plant like anybody else, get the glass on there. And, with playing Border, you have 2 opportunities for that on the second floor. So big fan of that. One of the issues I have with the map, there's a lot of open angles that don't have cover. So even when you're playing second floor, it's not as much of an issue, but definitely on that first floor area, you got to have a lot of roamers, because if you're just playing in sight, you're going to get picked out. There's not really any great spots to play for all 5 guys. So you got to have guys outside of sight and deal with that there. And then once you get off that second floor, I would agree that it's pretty attacker-sided. All those other 3 options that I provided with you, the reason that they all get played is because none of them are very strong. So, for that reason, we put it down in B tier. Moving on down the list, Chalet. Chalet gets another solid B tier. I think after the rework, I mean, this probably been about 3 or 4 years ago when they did that rework, I think it was actually pretty good for the game. A lot of people, they hate anything that's new. So, however, I think it was a good rework. And once again, this is another place where you can play all 4 sites. Now, on the first floor, you don't really see the kitchen taken as much, but I prefer kitchen as my 3rd option. And basement is one of the best locations in the game. When you're talking about from an attacking perspective, I mean, I just think there's a lot of different, the garage you can push from. You got the main wall. You can play vertical. A blue hall, a lot of different options, and that's really what I like. If you come down to this video, when you see the end of this list, you're going to say, what maps have the most options for you to play? If I'm stuck into playing one way, I mean, I can go play Call of Duty. I really like using my creativity, and I think Chalet gives you a great opportunity for that. And now, the first floor, now when I say first floor play, I don't just mean the objectives on the first floor. I kind of mean, being around that area in the first place. You really don't want to get stuck in that first floor area. There's a lot of, it feels closed and open at the same time. So, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, if you guys have played it, you would know. I just not a big fan of the first 4 plays, so that's the reason I put in B tier. And, you know, you really can't enter through that front door. You really either got to enter from the basement or from the second floor to, you know, make any noise. So, moving on down the list, we have Clubhouse. And Clubhouse landed itself at A tier, man. This is a map I really didn't love too long ago, but I've definitely started to grow a little fondness for it. Once again, this is 3 strong sites. You have bedrooms, which I see most people play first. I think that's probably either the second or third best. CCTV, in my opinion, easily the best defensive spot. Basement, another great spot. First floor isn't really great, but unless you're playing Pro League, like you only need 3 spots anyways. So you do lose a little bit of flexibility there, but it is what it is. And, you know, all of these outside pushes have run out counters. And, you know, that's a big issue in the game a lot of times. If you have an outside push, I mean, I consider that an uncontested angle. In this game, if you try and get on rafters, you can get shot from CC. If you try to push CC ball, you can get ran out from the garage area. So, you know, you can't just hold, you know, you can't just be a dumb attacker and stand outside and, you know, expect nothing to happen when you're pushing a main wall. So I do like that. Now, the cons of this map, the reason I didn't put it S tier, because it really could be, is that strip club area. You know, that's the other site that no one even talks about. I mean, most people don't even know it's a site. And it just kind of feels like an addition to the map that's not necessary. I mean, I think the map would be better if they got rid of it, as crazy as it sounds, because there's really nothing going on over there other than people like hiding out. Like if you're like a Caballero, you go hide in the strip club and then wait for them to push up bedroom stairs, and you got a nice push there. So I'm not a big fan of the strip club area. It needs to be reworked. And then also another negative I'd say is the vertical control, how important that is. If you start getting to play in these platinum, emerald, you know, diamond lobbies, especially CCTV, strong vertical control, even bedrooms, if they get control of downstairs, it can cause a lot of problems for you. So, and obviously on basement, I mean, a fuse there could light your world up. So, I put that down as a con. You got to play a little smart. It's just a different way. You have to think about things. You know, you can't just, once again, you can't have 5 guys in sight because they get vertical control on you. You might have a bad day. We're going to go ahead and move on here. Clubhouse lands itself at A tier. And the first S tier of the list is Coastline. Coastline is probably my favorite map in the game, so I might be biased here. You know, one of my friends despises Coastline. But I think looking at it objectively, I think it's a great map. Once again, it has something we're looking for, which is the 3 very balanced sites. You know, I think Kitchen, I'm trying to remember all these names off the top of my head. We have Kitchen, we have bedrooms, and then the pool room. So those are the three sites there that people can play. And honestly, I think they're all about equal strength. You always see people go poolside first, but I think you can make an argument that bedrooms is just as easy to defend, or Kitchen. And when I say it's easy to defend, I think it's not like overall, I would say the map might lean a little more attacker side. But all 3 of those spots are equally, you know, they're all valid. Another good part about this map is the roaming is it's not OP, but you can definitely get around. You know, you kind of have these long angles, so it makes it easy for, if you have an opponent that's watching their back, it kind of makes it hard to roam, but they have to watch the back. So, you know, I think it's very balanced there. The only negative I can think about is those 3 sites that I just mentioned. Attackers can take these uncontested angles where there's not much you can do. If they're playing pool room, you can have a guy set ruins, and they can watch that long window, and the only thing you can do is peek that window, really. You know, we look at Kitchen, and the kitchen door and the kitchen window, and then penthouse. Now, you can run out on the penthouse window, but you know, typically they'll have claymores or something like that. So it makes it a little harder to contest these angles. So that is the only caveat, but I still think it's an S tier map. That was just the only thing I could think of that might be a negative. So moving on down the list, Consulate. Consulate gets itself at C tier. And I might get, once again, this is another thing. People are going to say put this too high because this is another map I see banned all the time. But I think it's simply just because of the basement objective alone. Now, most people will go second floor first, which I agree. I think second floor is very defensive-sided. It's kind of hard to win. So, not as fun over there. I mean, you got spots like, you know, the soda machines. You put a little, you know, shield down there. And that's a very tough spot to get someone out of. So, if you have a coordinated team, that defense is almost impenetrable. But, you know, like I said, the large map creates great flanking opportunities since you have the basement has 3 stairs to get up. If you have an Oryx, oh my god, there's like 100 hatches. So a lot of opportunities to flank around your opponents there. And once again, like I said, basement's great. I love the strategies there. You can push from the back, push above, main wall, a lot of opportunities. And like I said, the only problem here is that there are literally only 2 spots for defense. So, I mean, the second floor, there is the Teller's Archives, which is the worst objective in the game. The other one, which I can't think of the name of right now, is playable, but very, very difficult for defenders to win. So typically you're going to see Consulate matches go to overtime, which is probably why people don't like them. But I think Consulate's a fine map, and we place it firmly in C tier. Moving down the list, Emerald Plains. Now, Emerald Plains is one of the newer maps. I believe it came about a year or two ago. And I just really don't think it is a great map. It's a D tier. It's not the worst map. I can play it, and I can put a smile on my face every once in a while, but for one, I don't know who designed the skylight. The worst skylight in the game. You cannot do shit off of that skylight. It is horrible. But that's not the main reason I don't like this map. It's another large map, but it's different in the way that it's large, in that you can almost hide maps. And when they're so large that you can hide, that's when I start to dislike it, because you know, you shouldn't have to check every nook and cranny with your drone to make sure there's no enemies down there. Now, I think drone out's very important. You drone out a room, but like, you should not have to go through every little closet in every room to make sure no one's there. I mean, we're playing a video game. You know, we're not protecting the president. It shouldn't be so difficult. And then, you know, another one I said is there's only one good defensive location on this map, and that would be, you know, the main upstairs. Like I said, there's 2 upstairs, 2 downstairs. They're all playable to some extent, but I think they all have an attacker advantage. So I wouldn't say that they're great defensive locations. It's the very attacker-sided map. When you look at the pure defensive aspect for it, obviously I said earlier the roaming's a big issue, so that kind of gives the defensive advantage, but not the kind of advantage that you want. So I'm kind of yapping here. A lot of spawn peaks too. I hate spawn peaks. Any maps that have a lot of spawn peaks I'm already turned off by, just because, once again, you know, the outside, when you're walking out, it's supposed to be your safe area as an attacker, and, you know, and no one likes getting picked. So even if you're a guy who loves your spawn peaks, you got to admit, like, we need better map design there. But moving on, I'm rambling now. Cafe Dostoyevsky. And Cafe, we put this one in C tier. You know, another very solid map. I see this one get banned occasionally, you know, by people who don't know better, because this is a very solid map. Once again, you got 3 defensive spots, and you could honestly argue 4, because reading room's not impossible to hold. So we can argue 4 decent defensive spots. Obviously, kitchen and second floor are going to be the main ones. And I put here as the con, very divided. What I mean by that is when you're on that second floor objective, it can be hard to rotate to your teammates, because they can get these uncontested angles, these crossfires on site, and you can kind of get stuck and snuff out by a good team. So if you're playing in Cigar Lounge and there has an enemy on Skylight, you might get stuck in that Cigar Lounge, and then you get pushed from 3 different angles. Now, it takes a good team to do that, but you know, I just think that the idea that, you know, the Skylight is very hard to hold. You know, the main area of the bomb site's hard to hold. You have to play almost outside of the bomb site. Does have a disadvantage there. So, moving on down the list, we're done here with Dostoyevsky. Canal. Canal, I thought about putting C tier. Canal is growing on me. Everyone calls it Canal. They think it sucks. I think Canal is not a bad map. When I see Canal, I get happy. I'm like, okay. I get happy because I know I like this map more than my opponents do. I don't love it, but I know I like it more than them. I think the second floor is one of the best, I'm not saying one of the best objectives in the game, but it is a very fun objective to play. You know, the Sky Bridge area, you got main wall, you got the 2 windows. It creates for some interesting, an interesting dynamic. Once again, the map layout is kind of wonky, how you have the disconnected second floor, the disconnected basements. I didn't even know you could enter. There was like a red stairs goes all the way down to the floor. I wasn't even aware of that until yesterday. So you find something new about this map every day, a little different, you know, part of the map. And well, so when I look at the cons, even though I said I think second floor is a lot of fun, I said it's almost impossible to stop it because you can't bandit trick at the floor, right? If that floor was solid, it would be an even better map, but it's wooden, so, you know, a good buck player and IQ can really stop your bandit trick in there and can make the wall open almost immediately. And then once again, I said not a great third defensive location map room, not really where you want to be, so there's a reason this is in D tier. There's a lot of negatives, but I'm not going to say Kano's the worst map. I could have put it C tier, but it landed itself in D tier. Next on the list is Lair. Lair, I believe, is the newest map on this list, and it is the worst. And I know that's the easy thing to say, oh, you don't know the map yet. I said, all right, look at the positives here. It is a map. You can play it. These are all facts. Now, let's move on to my opinion now. The basement and the first floor, I mean, it feels like I'm in a corn maze. I've played this map at least 50, 60. You can look me up in R6 Tracker. I've played this map a ton of times, and I think my win percentage is good on this map. But, man, I still can't find my way around because there's a different room, a subsect of rooms. There's soft walls, there's hard walls. It's cut off here, it's open here. It's just like, I don't know who designed this map, but they must have been like on, you know, heroin or something. I can't think of who would have done this. Now, the one caveat, I like the second floor. However, the supposedly main wall push is almost impossible to do because you have the two windows on the back. So you have to have a very coordinated attack. You have to get control of that long call. There's the stairs in the back. There's the stairs in front. So you got to bring a Nomad. You got to have a Thermite. You got to have a Thatcher. Even when you open that wall up, it's a direct line to the enemy. So you're not cutting them off. You're, matter of fact, walking into a line of fire. So you probably need to bring a Montaigne. And, you know, like I said, this is another map where it kind of looks like they wanted you to push from one certain direction or another certain direction. They had an idea in mind when they made it, and I don't really like that. I like being able to use my own ideas, say, hey, we can approach this wall, we can get underneath here. But you know, with this map, I don't really see there's too many strategical options. So for that reason, it is an F tier. It is a failure of a map. It needs to be reworked immediately. And moving on, we have Nighthaven Labs. Now, Nighthaven Labs, I think I stand correct there. I think Nighthaven is newer than Lair. However, I'm not exactly sure. And Nighthaven gets C tier. You know, a lot of people don't like this map, but I think this is a new map that was made fairly, you know, fairly well. Like I said, every defensive spot is playable. Now, you might argue that is a defensive-oriented map, but I think second floor, you know, if you have good players, you should be able to get the main wall open in that area, and then you get some crossfires going. So I think there's many ways to attack it and many ways to defend it, and that's what I like to see. Now, the only problem I have is that it's really only with the second floor. The basement with the two outside walls that are disconnected. I'm not a big fan of attacking the basement here, and the first floor even. There's something about it. I can't put my finger on it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. You know, since I can't say why I don't like it, I can't put it lower than C tier, but I just don't love it. But we'll put it in C tier. And like I said, you know, I said basement can get stunted by strong bandit just because of those. There's no twitch holes downstairs. And I think if they would add one small thing to make this map a lot better, put a twitch hole on the little outside, because like I go twitch and I gotta throw it upstairs. I gotta drive my twitch drone down. Then at halftime I get shot, and now I'm just sitting here like, all right, we got a minute 30 without a wall open. Like, what are we doing? So, just an idea. Moving on, we have Oregon. Oregon lands itself at A tier, and I couldn't think of a reason not to put it in S tier other than it just doesn't feel it's on the same level as Coastline. It could have been S tier. This is as close as an S tier map as you can get without it being it. But something was different. And why I like this map is that it is like the epitome of what Rainbow should be. Requires strong team play to win these attacks and defenses. If you have a 5-stack and you have you know, separated guys, that 5-stack is going to win on Oregon 90% of the time. Even if the individual guys are better, just because you really need a you know, you need a wall breach open for sure. You need different angles covered. You know, with this map, you can't just push through one side or else you're going to get picked off. So, you know, flanks and roams here are very strong. You have different areas you can play that are outside of sight that I really like. And the only reason, the only thing I could think of as a con was that the basement push, the main push, which is the construction site, I'm not a big fan of the way that's set up. It's another one thing where you got a bunch of people going through a little hole. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. So Oregon A tier. And then we get Outback. Outback's D tier, and I thought about moving Outback up. Originally, I had it in C tier, and I even thought about B tier, because I don't hate Outback. A lot of people don't like it, but when I got to thinking about it, I said, man, you know, Oregon's got 4 defendable locations. I love that. Even the kitchen, which doesn't get played a lot, is very defendable. And every objective has different ways to push. Now, I think the reason everyone hates Outback is because there are so many runouts. Not spawn peaks. Spawn peaks are one thing. A run out means you can stand still, get spawned in, be on your phone for 2 seconds, get a C4 in your face and blown up. I hate that. I hate that, man. Like, what are we doing out here? You know, there's a reason guys can't run outside in this match for too long without being ID'd. Before you used to get killed, and man, these runouts are ridiculous. They need to stop. You gotta have something. There's so many different doors, so many different windows. It's hard to keep track of all of them. So, you know, I think that for that reason alone, we put this in D tier. Also, I think the map is, once again, a little defender-sided just with all those runouts. So, if the runouts changed, maybe my opinion of it could change. But right now, it is stuck in D tier. Moving on, Skyscraper. Skyscraper put in F tier. People might say I put this a little too low. However, I've never liked Skyscraper. I've always thought this was a bad map. Before the rework, didn't like it. After the rework, still don't like it. And the reason I don't like it is because in every other map, you have, like, just an immediate idea of where I'm going to play from. Like, I'm going to hold this area, my teammate's going to hold this area, and we're going to hold down the site. And Skyscraper doesn't have that. I feel like a lot of the areas, you kind of have to bring like an Azami or a deployable shield to build your own cover, because there's not a lot of natural cover there that doesn't have a crossfire directly looking at it. So it makes it very hard to hold in almost any objective that I can think of on that map. You know, the pros I put here is that there were 4 different locations you can play from, which is true, but they're all bad defensively. I think this is more of an attacker side of map just because it's hard to find a spot to play from. So overall, I'm not the biggest fan of Skyscraper, and that's the reason it is in F tier. Moving on, Theme Park. Now, Theme Park gets the D tier here. You know, it could have gone F. It could have gone F. Now, a lot of people are going to hate me for that. I know a lot of people that love Theme Park. And you know what? I think Throne Room is the reason it's a D tier. It could have been F tier, but I really love the play in Throne Room. How you get there's like 3 different walls you can push from once again, but it's still somewhat defensive sided. You can still play there, 4 defendable locations, and I think this is more of a defensive map because there's not a lot of creativity when you get into the bedroom, the second floor objectives. There's always so many ways you can push from, and you know it's really easy for the defense to stack enemy or stack combatants on those areas and contest those pushes. So you know, when intel is the key thing in this game, when your opponent knows what you're going to do, you're in a bad situation. So another thing, I thought there's like way too many, like another thing with the hiding shit. I hate hiding people. Like fucking, this is a video game. Let's not hide like pussies. If you want to hold an angle, it's different. If you're going to sit in a corner, wait for me to push and then go around me, fuck you. Other than that, we're moving on. Theme Park is in D tier. And next we have Villa. Villa lands itself a B tier. You know, when I was thinking of Villa originally, I don't ever get like excited to play Villa, but now that I think about it, I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad. Both of the upstairs objectives are pretty good. You have not statutory, that's what I call it, but statuary. And you have the other objective, of course, which I'm sure we all know. Both very fun objectives to play from. I enjoy it. A lot of different attacking ideas, like I said. That's a big theme of this video, has many different ideas. The first floor play, I said, is pretty dual. That doesn't, like, once again, not just referring to the objectives on that site, but just the way you move around. You know, I think it's a little too cut off. If they opened it up a little more, could be a little better there in the first floor. But as it stands, you know, Villa, very strong map. Put in B tier, and I think that might be it. Yeah, that's it. Villa was the last map. I didn't even realize we went through this video. It felt like pretty quickly here. This is the final tier list. Coastline, the only S tier. I'm sure people are going to disagree with that. Maybe have Border, maybe have Bank. Clubhouse for sure could be an S tier. But let me know down below. Did you agree with my overall rankings? What would you change? So other than that, guys, it's your boy Showtime Satch, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.